Chase Field's almost full and certainly buzzing. Great Britain and Team USA. Second game in Pool C. Colombia with the win over Mexico. Here, it's Great Britain's turn to step onto the big stage. And their lineup, B.J. Murray, switch hitters at third base. Trayce Thompson, that's Klay Thompson's brother, Michael Thompson's son. Matt Koperniak is a designated hitter. Harry Ford is the catcher. You got Young, Ward, Sweeney, Jaden Rudd, and Anthony Seymour. And they get to face Adam Wainwright, 41 years old. Wainwright to the plate with a fastball that sails high. And this game is underway. And for Wainwright, the decision to play here was a real easy one.
They never played before, he said, because they never asked me. He got an opportunity this year at 41 years old, and he stepped up quickly.
B.J. Murray with a swing and a foul at the plate. Now, Great Britain's roster isn't dotted, as we said, with MVPs and All-Stars, but it is dotted with some talented young players who were in the minor leagues and starting to make their climb. And this is one of them. B.J. Murray, a 23-year-old. He was in single-A ball last year and had a pretty good year, 286 average, a 410 on base. He has power and he has speed. And he's one of the many players out of the Bahamas. Big breaking ball and a swing and a miss. And Wainwright gets the strikeout.
Well, take a look at the defense behind Adam Wainwright. A lot of Gold Glovers on this USA team. 25 Gold Gloves in total. Kyle Tucker in left, Mike Trout in center, and Mookie Betts in right field. Betts has won 6 Gold Gloves. Trey Turner and McNeil up the middle. Arnado with 10 Gold Gloves over third base. Paul Goldschmidt, a 4-time Gold Glover. And JT Realmuto behind the plate.
Trayce Thompson, now this is a guy who has played in the big leagues, and his last stop in the big leagues was a really good one. 74 games with the Dodgers, and boy did he burn bright. Drills it, left field, deep, and gone! Great Britain grabs the lead. Trayce Thompson goes deep, and it's 1-0.
Thompson was looking at that breaking ball, sitting on curveball, and he got it and hit it out of the ballpark. What a start for Great Britain. They qualified, winning the tournament, and you can see what their home run tribute is. The crown in a robe, royalty for Great Britain. First inning home run by Trayce Thompson. Wow.
Wow is right. And as loud as this place has been for the last hour, it has quieted down pretty quickly. Koperniak now, the designated hitter. And Wainwright misses up. Trayce Thompson, and I was just about to tell you, hit 13 home runs for the Dodgers last year, 14 doubles, and that was in just 74 games.
These players understand that this is the biggest stage they'll ever have played on, and they're going to make the most of it. I mean, you talk about a potpourri of talent and experience, and they come from all over the world, basically. Bahamas, United States, UK. A terrific mix of young and more experienced minor leaguers, and certainly they're not taking a back seat to anybody. They're in this team. They feel like they're equal to everybody.
Koperniak's a guy that was born in London, played at Division III Trinity College, and was signed by the Cardinals as a free agent. He didn't get quite the money Wainwright did. He signed for $20,000.
Waino signed for over $4 million when he was drafted. Another look at the home run swing by Trayce Thompson. He's sitting all over this curveball, and you can see it's about belt high over the heart of the plate, and he didn't miss it. You know, everybody in the world knows Wainwright's got that great curveball, and that's one thing Mark DeRosa said. We always know that Waino can spin it, and look at the reaction in the dugout. This team hit some home runs in the Reagan's qualifying tournament last September.
Yeah, in Germany, they had to beat France, Germany, and Spain, and they did it. And here is Harry Ford. Ford, the 20-year-old, Mariners' top prospect, as we told you. 12th overall pick back in 2021. Both his parents were born in Great Britain. And he's one of the Cobb County kids, guys that came up around that Atlanta area with the great youth baseball there.
And of course, had made a commitment to go to Georgia Tech, and he was able to get drafted and sign. His signing bonus was over $4 million, and he is a good-looking young player, very athletic, not unlike the guy that's behind him, JT Realmuto.
That's right. That's the guy that they compare him to, the athleticism. And Ford swings and misses.
Much better curveball this time from Wainwright. He got it down where he wanted it. Started about letter high, and it breaks down out of the zone, and Ford strikes out. Watch where this breaking ball finishes. Much better location there. It was a strike to ball breaking ball, and he gets Ford to strike out.
That's the trademark breaking ball that Wainwright has had his entire career. 18 years in the big leagues. 195 wins. First pitch swinging is Chavez Young. Young, a 25-year-old. Born in the Bahamas, went to high school in Georgia. Spent 6 minor league seasons with the Blue Jays. Switch hitter. There's a lot of switch hitters in this lineup for Great Britain.
4 of them, in fact, and a left-handed hitter in Nick Ward, so they've got a lot of versatility. Chavez Young was traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates for Zach Thompson, a right-handed pitcher.
He gets a breaking ball and pops this one up shallow center field. Trey Turner on the outfield grass makes the catch. Trace Thompson in the big leagues had never faced Adam Wainwright until tonight in the World Baseball Classic, representing Great Britain. That's a home run, and that's a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the first, 1-0 Great Britain. And now the U.S. lineup. Mookie Betts is in right field. Mike Trout in center. Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Kyle Schwarber, the DH, Trey Turner, the shortstop, Kyle Tucker, the great Astros in left, Realmuto behind the plate, and Jeff McNeil is at second base in the 9 spot. And this is Mookie Betts. And that's a strike from Vance Worley, who last pitched in the big leagues in 2017, been in the minor leagues, and then last year independent ball in Kane County. Mookie Betts deep and at the wall and caught there. Jaden Rudd on the track, and Worley with a little bit of a smile.
Mookie Betts is now 0 for 4 in his career. That's really thought he got it.
Of course he is.
Maybe toward the end of the bat a bit. Take a look at this swing. Fastball out over the plate. It was right off the end of the bat. Still carried to the warning track in left field. That's Jaden Rudd, the left fielder, who hauls it in, and Mookie Betts just missed it.
Now some guy named Mike Trout. The 3 MVPs, and as you pointed out, maybe the most influential U.S. player. When he said he was all in, there were a lot of others that saw that and jumped in as well.
Yeah, and I asked Mike why he committed to Team USA. He said, I watched in 17, and it was so much fun. I was really sorry I missed out on that. Of course, USA won. They won the championship in San Diego, and it had some star players on there. And, of course, Adam Jones made that great catch against Manny Machado, and there was a lot of exciting plays, and Trout noticed that and said, I want to be part of it if I can the next time.
And for Mark DeRosa, having Trout on board and, Paul Goldschmidt and Mookie Betts,
for one,
a manager's dream and a lineup that is as deep as you will find it. That was a strike, but not called so by Carlos Torres. Counts 3-1. Torres behind the plate, a major league umpire. Felix Tejada from the Dominican Republic has first base. Bill Miller at second, and Jonathan Biarreta out of Venezuela down the third base line. Trout chases.
Pretty good cutter right there, down and away. Got Mike to go after it. Mike's a very good low ball hitter. Really likes the ball down in the zone. He can hit it out in any part of the ballpark, but really cut it just off the plate outside. He got Trout to miss.
Vance Worley strikes out Mike Trout.
Wait a minute. What is this script here? Great Britain hits a home run and Mookie Betts and Trout are retired.
That's one of the charms of the World Baseball Classic. Look, Great Britain is here for the very first time. They had to qualify to get here. They are in the infancy of building a baseball program. Drew Spencer, their manager, has done a marvelous job. One of the charms is sometimes every now and then a team like this can step up and take a crack at a Goliath, and that's certainly what Team USA looks like, both on paper and in person.
Well, Mark DeRosa knows the intensity of these games. He has seen it personally. He watched the end of the first game in this pool when Colombia beat Mexico. We've seen some upsets over the years. The Australians beat Korea earlier in this tournament.
Vance Worley's getting squeezed here. That was another pitch that was clearly in the zone that was called the ball. So he's not getting any help from the home plate umpire. Goldschmidt swings and misses, and it's 2-1.
Worley has thrown fastballs 89, 90 miles an hour, cut fastball 87. Took a little off that fastball and just runs it up there. He knows he's not going to be able to light up the radar gun, and he certainly can't challenge these guys in the middle of the plate, so he's got to mix it up. I mean, one right after another, all stars and silver sluggers throughout this lineup.
That's up, and so Worley loses Goldschmidt, and here comes Arenado. You heard J.P. Morosi talk about Arenado getting a second bite of the apple, so to speak. Just a marvelous career. First a Rocky, now a Cardinal. A Gold Glove every year. 6 Platinum Gloves, signifying the best defender in the game.
5-time Silver Slugger winner here. He literally has done it all. He's 31 years old now. Both he and Paul Goldschmidt are the only 2 from the 2017 championship team for Team USA. Arenado seems to be a little more comfortable and a little more relaxed this time around. He hit 161 in 2017 in the World Baseball Classic. He had a homer and 3 RBIs in 8 games. He'd like to put up a little bit better numbers this time around.
He put up some great numbers last year. It was his 7th All-Star game. He was 3rd in the MVP voting. Another Gold Glove, another Silver Slugger, and 30 home runs. That's another strike that is called the ball. And Carlos Torres is doing Vance Worley no favors right now.
Take a look at this last pitch, and it looks like it catches the bottom of the strike zone, but he didn't get the call. Made up for it right there. That high pitch, you can see Arenado shaking his head. He thought it was upstairs.
It's one thing that Mark DeRosa was talking about. He's got to learn how to talk to umpires as well now as a first-time manager. He even has the grizzled manager look going.
Yeah, he's having a ball doing this. A lot of preparation. He's talked to so many people about it. He played 16 seasons in the big leagues, and he's talked to a lot of former managers. Had Jim Leyland at length. Talked to Coach K about what it means to coach and manage all-stars and MVPs.
He has a lot of Bobby Cox DNA in terms of instincts, which is pretty darn good. That is up. And so now with 2 outs, there's Drew Spencer, and what an incredible story he is, and what an amazing job he has done to breathe life into baseball in Great Britain. Manages over there the national team. Arenado pulls that one hard. And the funny thing about these two managers is they've met before, and they've met in uniform in 2 different places. In the Ivy League, where DeRosa was not only a star on the baseball field, but also a quarterback at Penn, and Spencer, who went to Dartmouth, and he was 4 times all Ivy League.
Yeah, he always used to admire DeRosa across the diamond, and that's what I want to be, that number 3 hitter playing shortstop for my team. And we played Cape. Now they have both had the opportunity to manage against one another in this World Baseball Classic.
Goldschmidt moving again. Another 3-2. And a chopper over the middle onto first and safe. Arenado falls down. Seymour, the second baseman, got the throw off, but didn't get much on it. And Nick Ward had to stretch out at first base.
A lot going on there at second base on the 3-2 count. Goldschmidt is running. The ball bounced right over the mound and right over the bag at second base. There goes Goldschmidt, and watch where this ball ends up. There's the runner sliding in, and Seymour's got a lot of things to deal with, and you're right, he didn't get much on the throw. And how about the effort by Arenado, stretching out to hit that bag, and it really threw him off stride, and he falls down beyond the bag at first.
Now, this is an interesting sequence here because Drew Spencer is managing essentially a major league game that has replay in it, and so they had to wait. The replay coach that Great Britain has took a look, and as you saw, Arenado beat the throw to first, so there's no challenge. And just like in Major League Baseball, 1 challenge for each side until you get to the 8th inning, and then the umpires can initiate the review. And so after getting the first 2, including striking out Mike Trout, Goldschmidt a walk, Arenado an infield hit, and here is Schwarber coming off just a monster year with the Phillies.
Yeah, he had 46 homers for the Phillies and 94 RBIs at 46 homers. That led the National League. He hit just .218 and had 200 strikeouts. It's kind of a profile of a modern-day power hitter. You don't care much about average as long as they're doing damage.
Oh, he does that. And right now Worley having trouble finding the plate.
For 1.
And of course Schwarber doing that damage for Worley's old team, the Phillies. Worley was in the Rookie of the Year balloting 3rd back in 2011.
Time.
A reminder, of course, there are no Major League Baseball new rules in effect in this tournament. The disengagement rule, the pitch clock, they're not in place. Larger bases also not in play, and teams can shift defensively.
Swing and it's fouled back. Schwarber's in 8 seasons been to the postseason 7 times, so he's been a regular in October.
Yeah, he's disappointed he missed one right there. Had a good pitch to hit, fouled it back out of play.
And he had a great postseason this last year. 3 homers in the NLCS, 3 homers in the World Series. Two balls, 2 strikes. Trace Thompson with a solo homer off of Adam Wainwright, and that's how it's 1-0. Check swing, no swing. Worley with one of his better fastballs And not a bad location. There's no relief on deck. You've got Trey Turner, and then Kyle Tucker, and then Rio Muto, and then Jeff McNeil. Runners on the move, and that pitch looked like it caught the plate and was above the knees, but called the ball.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough situation for Great Britain. The catcher, Harry Ford, is 20 years old, and he has had a lot of experience but trying to settle it to the umpire, but it's been a very tight strike zone for Vance Worley.
Yes, it has, but as we saw on the pitch tracks, that had the zone. Bags are loaded now. Trey Turner, end of the bat, got great speed. Seymour gets the out, barely. And the bags are left loaded. And Great Britain takes a 1-0 lead into the second.
Game number 2 of the 2022 World Baseball Classic qualifier from Regensburg. Harry puts a charge in this one. A 2-run homer for the top Mariners prospect. A victory for Great Britain.
It was a whitewash tonight in this game.
It's gone. Justin Wiley, a 3-run homer in the first. Great Britain is on to the play-in game against Spain.
And a drive to right. We are tied. The catch, the tag, and Great Britain is walking off to the World Baseball Classic.
Very cool. That, of course, the big moment when they qualified in Germany in 2022, beating France, Germany, and Spain. And that moment, Anthony Seymour planting the flag, will forever live in Great Britain baseball history, and a history that they hope to expand on here in Phoenix.
Yeah, great moment for them, and they did a good job running the base. They had 9 steals in those 3 games in Germany. Andrew Spencer, the skipper of this club, said, you know what, we're going to use our speed a little bit, but I don't know that he was expecting to get a first-inning home run from Trace Thompson.
Well, Nick Ward gets the leadoff spot this inning. Breaking ball. That's a swing, says the third base umpire, Jonathan Biarretta.
3 strikeouts already for Wainwright, and that curveball, when he gets it down, it's tough to lay off of. It looks like a hittable pitch, but it breaks so much, it breaks out of the zone, and Ward couldn't check his swing in time.
Neither pitcher has much velocity tonight. Not Vance Worley and not Adam Wainwright. Wainwright obviously trying to ramp up and get ready for the 2023 regular season. Darnell Sweeney, the shortstop for Great Britain, 32-year-old out of South Florida. Played college ball at UCF, Dodgers draft. His dad a native of the Virgin Islands. Last year independent ball with the Kansas City Monarchs. I'll bet you they have the great cool uniforms. He hits a drive to right field, hits it pretty well. Betts is back at the wall, and he makes the catch. Darnell Sweeney got into that.
Just a little bit out in front, and you can see that this team, Great Britain, there sitting on breaking ball against Wainwright. You know, he can't throw it by him. He's topped out at 86 miles an hour with his fastball, and there's that Wainwright hook. And it's in another good spot, and you can see Sweeney was just out in front, hit it off the end of the bat, and Mookie Betts has plenty of room in the right.
Jaden Rudd now, one of the younger players for Great Britain, and a guy that I know you're familiar with from the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Yeah, he's 20 years old, and he was drafted by the Blue Jays, and he's never left the Florida Complex League. He's played 2 summers down there in the Florida Complex League in Dunedin, Florida.
Hits that one hard and into right field. That's a base hit. And Great Britain has their second hit, a 2-out single, and that's going to bring Seymour to the plate.
Jaden Rudd had a game-tying home run against Spain in the final game over there. And I said, what did it feel like rounding the bases? He said, all I thought about was don't miss any base. And here he gets his hit in his first WBC at bat, pulls it through the right side. Not a great throw for a youngster, a 20-year-old left fielder.
And for countries that are just starting to cultivate and grow baseball, to qualify for this event, you have to win your qualifier. And winning that qualifier, to some a surprise that they've come that far this quickly, but just a huge step forward for Drew Spencer and everybody associated with baseball and Great Britain. Little chopper off the glove of Wainwright. That's going to be another hit, unless that's an error, but I think Wainwright stabbing at it probably will go as an infield hit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an infield hit, and you can see Seymour shaking his head, but he'll end up with a base hit here, a 2-out base hit, back-to-back base hits for the 8 and 9 hitter in this lineup. I mean, this shows you how close these one-game events are. You play one game against the team, 4 games overall. A bad bouncing ball goes off the pitcher's glove and ends up in no man's land, and it's a 2-out single. You can see Wainwright reaches for it, and that was going to be an easy play for Trey Turner, who was shifted over to the first base side of second.
Somewhat of a shift now for the switch hitting leadoff man, B.J. Murray, who struck out in the first, and he pulls one foul. In a way, Great Britain resembles what the Netherlands were, back in the early 2000s when they were just getting their baseball going, and some of those, those great players from Curacao in that area had not, come through that system, or were just starting to play youth baseball and going to the Little League World Series and such.
Very similar path as Team Netherlands in 2009 played in Miami, and at that time Kenley Jansen was their catcher.
Yep, I saw them that year in Puerto Rico, and that's when they knocked off the Dominican, which was as impressive as this U.S. lineup. That Dominican team had every bit as much hardware. That is strike 3 called, and Wainwright, a long inning, gives up a couple of hits, but strands 2. And the Trace Thompson home run is standing up right now as Great Britain leads the United States. Kyle Tucker at the plate. JT Realmuto, Jeff McNeil will follow. With all the big names and all the big stars, Tucker certainly is a star, but he's new on the scene relative to guys like Trout and Betts and Goldschmidt, Arenado. But man, this guy can really play. 26-year-old out of Tampa. Last year, his first All-Star team. He's had back-to-back 30 home run seasons for the Houston Astros. And Vance Worley, who's bobbed and weaved his way through the first inning, walking 2, giving up an infield hit, kept the United States off the board.
Well, quite honestly, he had a very tight strike zone to work with. He threw 29 pitches in the first inning.
When you're starting baseball and gathering together an international team, sometimes the hardest thing to assemble is starting pitching. High drive, right center. It'll stay in the park. Trace Thompson, good guy to go gap to gap in the outfield. And there's 1 out.
Let's take a look at the defense for Great Britain. We mentioned Rhodes in left, Thompson in center, and Chavez Young in right field. Sweeney and Seymour up the middle. B.J. Murray is at third base. Nick Ward over at first base, and the youngster Harry Ford, 20 years old, behind the plate for the veteran Vance Worley.
JT Realmuto and Harry Ford with the hello. And that's a great comparison between those two, because Ford is incredibly athletic with speed and power, and that's what Realmuto is all about. Still one of the faster runners in Major League Baseball as a catcher. That is a fair ball over the bag and into the corner. Rudd, the youngster, digs it out. And Real Muto with a hot smash of a double.
Yeah, we talk about the depth of this team. Real Muto hit 26 doubles last year for the Phillies. Of course, the Phillies got into the World Series, and he's got that exaggerated leg kick. He gets it down and is able to get to that fastball. Worley, like Wainwright, doesn't have the velocity he once had, and it's difficult for him to get that fastball by these hitters. Well, Real Muto's turned on it, gets a one-out double.
And like I said, Real Muto can really motor. 21 stolen bases, and he's always shown up in the metrics as far as the best sprint speed for players. Real Muto is always on that list.
Yeah, he's quite athletic, and in his pregame meeting with the media, Mark DeRosa said he thinks Real Muto could probably play shortstop if he wanted to.
That's where he started in high school, as McNeil takes a pitch outside. Jeff McNeil in the 9 spot. McNeil, the 30-year-old, 6th year with the Mets, big league level. Just really impressive career numbers at this point. 307 average, 370 on base, 454 slug.
Well, and he's a throwback hitter. You can see the bat he's using. He chokes up about 4 inches on the bat handle, and that's an old-fashioned bat called a U1. It's got no knob on it, and you can see it's got a real thick handle. But he likes to use it to put the bat on the baseball and spray it around, and that got him his first batting title.
Not endorsed by UL Washington, the former Kansas City Royals shortstop, but yeah, he's got that short stroke, good speed. He's a really terrific all-around player. Batting champ. Made his 2nd All-Star team this past season. Real Muto at 2nd.
Yeah, Real Muto, you mentioned his 21 steals. He only got caught 1 time last year. So Harry Ford, the young catcher, is going out and talk to his pitcher whether or not they want to change signs or what do you want to do here to this guy. Contact hitter with a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, 20-year-old catcher and a 35-year-old starter. Spray charts. Little Citi Field fireworks for you. Look at the line-to-line Jeff McNeil.
Yeah, McNeil was never affected by the shifts, that's for sure. He sprays it all over the diamond, and I thought the players would adjust to those shifts a little bit faster than they did. In fact, they never did, so we have to implement no shift rules.
Worley had that long first inning, and he's up to 37 pitches here. Got an out on the Tucker fly ball, a Real Muto double. Bats in the top of the order are waiting, and McNeil gets a look at a 3-0 pitch. And that's a strike.
Now another 86-mile-an-hour fastball, and Worley just knows he has to execute his pitches. He's got to try to stay out of the heart of the plate.
It's a fun time. I mean, it has somewhat of a feel of an all-star game just because of the sheer star power. But that's one thing that Mark DeRosa has been trying to tell everybody and let them know. This is not an all-star game. This is where it's on right now.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned they play 3 games, and tomorrow night they'll play Mexico. And the intensity of that game is going to be ratcheted up dramatically. And here they find themselves down to Great Britain.
Hot smash. Seymour to his left. Gets the out. And so Worley, who as I noted was kind of bobbing and weaving his way through this lineup, now has 2 outs, but he has to face Betts again, who nearly hit one out back in the first as he drove Jaden Rudd to the base of the wall and left.
Yeah, you're going to have a better idea, obviously, second time through the order about the velocity or lack thereof for Vance Worley. So now I think as a hitter, what you have to do is try to hit the ball to the opposite power alley. Make you stay back a little bit longer, give you a little longer to recognize what the pitch is.
That's a strike. And the count's 0-1. This will be Mookie Betts' 10th year in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he has been as consistent as any player when you look at the numbers he puts year in and year out. 269 average last year with 35 home runs, a career high in home runs for Betts.
Betts has got to be one of the players on this team that you consider a Hall of Famer, a guy that's, you know, his trajectory is headed to Cooperstown. And maybe this U.S. team has more guys that can say that than any other. Although you had Ken Griffey Jr., he's a coach on this team. Betts pops that one foul. And by the way, was Griffey's reception and roar as big as Trout's? It sure sounded like it.
Yeah, it sure did. He was introduced in the pregame ceremony as one of the coaches. He's the hitting coach for Mark DeRosa. He was on Team USA in 2006.
High pop-up, that should be playable. And Vance Worley, a little rope-a-dope, gets through the second. Excellent work by the 35-year-old out of Sacramento, California. 1-0 Great Britain to the third. Well, here he is, Trayce Thompson, and this is quite a moment.
First inning home run. He got a hanging curveball from Adam Wainwright and hits it into the seats in left field. It's a shock. Team USA. Great Britain with a 1-0 lead. Trayce Thompson, as it's mentioned, hit 12 home runs, hit 13 home runs last year for the Dodgers.
And he sneaks that one down the third base line into the corner. Boy, have a ball game already. Trayce Thompson rolls into second.
Thompson has 6 Major League seasons under his belt with the White Sox, Dodgers, A's, and Cubs, including some time with the Padres. So he has faced some of these big leaguers before, and that's a spinning breaking ball that just backed up and sailed to the inside part of the plate. And if you get it by this guy at third base, you've done something. 10-time Gold Glover Nolan Arenado couldn't make the play on it. And the team Great Britain's got something going here. Now they've got to take advantage of that leadoff double.
They've already got 4 hits. And Koperniak takes ball 1. Needless to say, Adam Wainwright does not look sharp tonight. Not with velocity, not with location. And an opportunity for Great Britain to add on to a 1-0 lead. That's a high fly ball into the corner. Thompson's going to tag. Betts has a head of steam, makes the catch, has a strong arm, throw to third, and he's in there.
Mookie Betts, I mean, that was a textbook catch and throw as he moved behind the baseball, moved his body into the throw, got all set up, and was just wide of the mark at third. Thompson did not slide over there. It was a lot closer than I think he expected it to be.
And to your point, if the throw is even just a little better on line, he's out.
But look at the effort as he's moving into that throw. He catches it, and all of his momentum is going toward third, and it's just wide of third base. I think Thompson thought he was going to have a wider margin, and now that's going to force the infield to come in and play at the edge of the grass.
Oh, this is fun now. Harry Ford, Mariners' top prospect, struck out back in the first. Infield in, 1 out. Wainwright with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside corner.
Ford struck out on a curveball his first time up. When you're looking for something up in the zone, you can hit over this drawn-in infield.
Wainwright dots the inside corner.
And it crossed him up a couple of fastballs, and he falls behind. Now you got a battle. Shorten up, put the bat on the ball, and cash in. Guy at third base, less than 2 outs.
Ford in single A last year had a great eye, great plate discipline. And that is up. Realmuto tried to bring it back down. His on-base percentage last year in 123 games, 422. Infield in. It bounces away, and Thompson thought about it. But Real Muto was in the vicinity of the ball quickly enough.
Yeah, Wainwright, when he unloaded it, he broke toward home. He knew it was going to be short of the mark, and it bounced to the right of home plate. And Real Muto is very athletic. He is always going to catch on one knee, even with that runner down third base. But he's so quick, he's able to get on it quickly and keep the runner from advancing.
Now the 2-2. He came back with a fastball. Ford fights it off.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, Ford's such a youngster that you don't realize, okay, a more veteran hitter would say, okay, he doesn't have enough fastball to beat me. I just can't be over anxious. I've just got to fight off the fastball, and if he makes a mistake with the breaking ball, then I can hit it. But you can see his velocity is down from the prime of his career, obviously. He's now 41.
2-2 again. Breaking ball, chopper to third. Arenado gets the out.
Back to the breaking ball and hit it right to third baseman. Of course, no chance to advance on that little tapper to the third baseman.
Chavez Young, another switch hitter, the one of 4 for the Great Britain squad. Big shift on the infield, and Wainwright misses outside. We made the parallel as you look at the shift between the early stages of the Netherlands developing their national program and what Great Britain is trying to do. And they do have a good number of players from the Bahamas here, and baseball in the Bahamas is starting to percolate. The game, as far as the youth level and some of the academies down there that this man has helped cultivate, Drew Spencer, starting to pay off. Breaking ball and a fly ball hit pretty well. Trout in pursuit makes the catch. Great Britain threatens. The leadoff double by Trace Thompson, though, stranded at third. A 1-0 Great Britain lead. Trace Thompson putting on a nice show. And JP Morosi, no surprise, this guy had a terrific finish to 22.
He did, and he's wearing 43, a number well known for fans of the Los Angeles Lakers through his father, Michael Thompson. Wore that number while becoming a 2-time NBA champion, honoring Michael's heritage in the Bahamas.
That's pretty. And look, you know, he's the brother of a Splash brother, too. So there's that, and that's impressive. Of course, Klay Thompson, NBA star. Mike Trout. Warning track. Jaden Rudd and Vance Worley keeps bobbing and weaving.
Boy, he sure does. And another ball just off the end of the bat. And Mookie Betts hit one earlier to the warning track. And here's the combination. Michael Thompson, number 43, 12 seasons.
And part of that, those great Laker teams, that dynasty. Goldschmidt now. A soft ground ball to short. Sweeney to first. High throw. Safe at first.
Well, that's the one thing that you can't do if you're Great Britain. You just can't give Team USA extra outs. Goldschmidt got jammed, a slow roller, and Sweeney just made a bad throw across the diamond. And anytime you give this team extra outs, it's going to come back and bite you. I mean, this is a routine ball into his glove. Takes crow hop, and you can see he didn't get 4 seams on that baseball. He threw kind of a sinker across the diamond. It was well off the mark, and Goldschmidt alertly slides away from the tag by Nick Ward. That's a good illustration for youngsters. He never got a four-seam grip to throw a true strike across the diamond.
So an E6, and here's Arenado. And he hits one hard foul. Drew Spencer, the skipper for Great Britain, has been asked many, many times, how are you going to approach these games? I mean, you're up against the U.S. Mexico is stocked with Major League bats. Colombia is really good. Team Canada's got major leaguers. Freddie Freeman's in the middle of their lineup. And he said, look, we've got to win the small margins. And that small margin they did not win. Ball in the dirt. And that's going to move Goldschmidt up 90 feet.
Yeah, those are the things that you just can't afford to fail to make when you're in a situation like that. And then the ball gets away, and now you're out of a double play situation. And that's really just can't have defense not make plays behind him. He really understands the magnitude of his throwing there.
And the other thing Drew Spencer said is that there's so many people that have, even the last couple of days, that have said, hey man, don't worry about the Classic, it's just so great that you're there. 1-1 pitch. And he said, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm not having any of that. Don't congratulate us for getting here. We're here now. We need to figure out how to win a game, how to be competitive. And they've done it so far here against the United States. Worley's 52nd pitch coming up. That's a fair ball and into the corner. And Team USA is going to get a run out of this. Goldschmidt scores. Arenado to second. And it's 1-1.
Now just think about the impact on the pitcher, Vance Worley. He gets a routine ground ball off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt. Thinks he's going to have 2 outs in the inning. It'll be 2 outs and nobody on. Then the air. And now you got to face Nolan Arenado. And Arenado is already 2 for 2 in this game. Puts a lot of pressure on the pitching staff. The wild pitch also contributing to the run. But you can see Arenado just keeps his head down, stays on that running fastball inside, and rips it past B.J. Murray down the left field line.
Arenado's been just an RBI machine ever since he stepped into a big league uniform. Schwarber now, who walked back in the first, takes a cut and hits a high fly ball. This time it's Thompson lining it up, and headed to third is Arenado. The throw is wide. Good hustle. Takes the 90 feet, but Worley gets the second out.
Schwarber just missed his pitch, and it ran just away from him. Just enough movement to take it off the barrel of the bat. Worley's doing a pretty good job.
This is a great example of a former major league pitcher who has stuck around in the minor leagues and now independent ball last year, who knows how to pitch, who knows how to move the ball in, out, take something off. He's not been overpowering velocity-wise.
And you know, I bet you Worley always thinks here late stages of his career, I wish I would have known what I know now when I had better stuff.
Well, look, you and I say that every day about a lot of things.
Experience, boy, it is valuable. But you know, so many guys nowadays, especially, they're pitching to the radar gun and not pitching to the hitter. They want to light up the radar gun, max effort on every pitch. And guys like Worley understand, hey, back and forth. Wainwright's done the same thing throughout his career. Disrupt the timing of the hitter. That's the key to pitching.
Trey Turner takes down low. What an addition when you add a guy like Trey Turner, and the Phillies have done that. And Worley gets a strike. Counts 2 balls and 2 strikes. JP, what do you see with Vance Worley?
Rich, well, one quick biographical note. I'm sure fans are wondering why Worley is eligible to pitch for Great Britain. Of course, he is from the great state of California. His mother was born in Hong Kong during the time in which it was under British administration, which ended in 1997. And that way, he's very similar to Trace Thompson, whose father, Michael, as we noted, was also born in a British territory.
And that's, look, you know, when you're starting baseball and cultivating baseball in a country that's never had it, you have to look under every rock, behind every tree, and scour the earth for anyone that has a connection to your country. 3-2. Turner, foul.
Yeah, Drew Spencer spoke to that before this game today. He said, you know, yeah, it'd be nice if we had all British-born players, but that's not the case. We have to look at family trees and find some connections and invite whoever we can to play for Great Britain. And here they are playing in the World Baseball Classic for the first time. And Vance Worley from Sacramento, California, former big leaguer, a chance to pitch for Great Britain.
Pitch number 60 coming. Pitch count is 65. And that's just off the plate. Worley really wanted it, obviously. And Drew Spencer now.
Yeah, you can see he's not happy with the strike zone, and Worley got squeezed all night long. And there are many pitches in the first inning when he had a couple of walks. Looked like they were strikes, but Carlos Torres had a very conservative strike zone for Vance Worley.
Kyle Tucker, a big left-handed bat, is next. And Drew Spencer.
Terrific effort by Vance Worley.
Yeah, he's got to be. Look, he battled his tail off against this lineup. You can see him saying, "You got to be kidding me." That close to getting out of it. Of course, the error in the third kind of opened the door here for the first run. 1-1. We step aside. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Don't do it. And if you need express written consent, Buck Martinez can do that for you. This is Jake Esch.
Former draft pick by the Florida Marlins in 2011. He's out of Minnesota, born in St. Paul. Now 32 years old. He hasn't pitched in professional baseball since 2018. His last team was Sioux Falls in the Independent League, American Association. He made 12 starts in that league, but that's back in 2018.
And so Esch comes in with runners at the corners. You've got Trey Turner, who has just blazing speed, one of the great base stealers in the game. And obviously this year with the new pickoff rules and a little bit more room on the bases. Bases are a little bit bigger. A guy like Turner could really stretch out his numbers. Line drive. Oh, and it goes right through Sweeney. And that is a base hit, and it's 2-1.
Well, he just flat out missed it. He was positioned perfectly right behind the bag at second base, and I think that top spin line drive kind of fooled him. He jumped for it, and he just missed it. And you can see Kyle Tucker expected it to be caught right at the shortstop. That's unfortunate because they had him positioned perfectly up the middle. And you can see he jumped and really out jumped the ball as it had some top spin on it, and he just flat out missed it.
He's fortunate that ball didn't hit him in the head because it dipped way below the glove. Real Muto now, and Esch misses away. Real Muto a double back in the second. As a connoisseur of catchers, Real Muto is a guy that I'm sure anytime you get a chance to see him play, it's a good day.
Yeah, he's just one of those very athletic catchers that can do so many things, and you can hit him just about anywhere in the lineup. You know, he's hit leadoff in the past. He can hit second, third, fourth, anywhere you want to put him. A different look for him hitting down in the order. He's in the 8th spot in this lineup. Kyle Higashioka, great catcher for the Yankees. He too is on this team along with Will Smith. They're carrying 3 very capable catchers.
That ball's hit pretty well, but it's down the line and it's peeling foul.
You know what the situation is for Team USA? I mean, they're all big league hitters, and they're used to chasing velocity, hitting 97, 98, and what they've dealt with in this game so far is basically under the hitting speed. It's kind of like batting practice type of hitting, and a lot of them have been out in front. Their timing is off, and they've been used to trying to play catch up to 99, 100, and sometimes over 100 miles an hour.
Bags loaded now. JP Morosi, what you have on Esch?
Well, Rich, he comes from Creighton-Durham Hall High School in the city of St. Paul, Minnesota, which has a pretty good baseball history. He's one of 3 major league players from that high school. The other 2, their names are Molitor and Mauer. Paul Molitor, Joe Mauer, both eventually maybe Hall of Famers.
That's a pretty good pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a teammate of Paul Molitor's in Milwaukee, and a terrific all-around player with great speed. And of course, there's another great catcher, Joe Mauer, 3-time batting champ.
McNeil inside. Elk Grove High School produced Buck Martinez and other major leaguers, right? Your high school's no slouch when it comes to that.
Rowdy Tellez, who played first base for Team Mexico. Don Carlson of the Cardinals, he's from Elk Grove. Scott Boras went to Elk Grove High School, great agent. Actually, Drew Spencer's cousin went to Elk Grove High School, Michael Ford, and I actually coached Michael Ford when he played with my son Casey at Sacramento State.
See, I know I can throw out anything, and you have a tie to it someplace.
I'm old.
No. You just had a great career in a lot of different places as a player, as a broadcaster especially. And is the first manager of Team USA in the World Baseball Classic in 2006.
Well, Ken Griffey Jr. was part of that team, and we had 3 Griffeys on that team. Senior was the first base coach, and Trey was the bat boy.
Wasn't that one of the stipulations when Junior decided to play? Can I bring my son?
Can I bring my son? I said, you can bring anybody you want as long as you play center.
McNeil now sitting on a 2-0 with the bags loaded, and hits a soft fly ball to left. Rudd is there and makes the catch. A costly error opens the door for the United States, and they gladly walk through, get a couple runs. Now that's a throwback uniform. Maybe the most star-studded lineup ever in the World Baseball Classic. Mike Trout is here. But guess who crashed the party? Trace Thompson and Great Britain. With a solo homer, Great Britain, enormous underdogs, took the lead. A costly error opened the door, and the USA put 2 on the board. Owen Arenado getting things going. And here, into the 4th, Adam Wainwright remains. Vance Worley is out. And Wainwright, who's had some tough moments, drops a breaking ball that misses in to Nick Ward. Darnell Sweeney and Jaden Rudd will follow. Ward, who last year played independent ball in the Frontier League, spent a couple of years in the minor leagues with a .364 on base percentage. There aren't a lot of minor league slots these days. Little chopper over the mound. And so Ward has had to go to independent ball to continue his career.
Well, Adam Wainwright, you talk about a career. When you look at Wainwright, what he can do, he's always been able to spin that curveball. It's been his calling card since he came into the big leagues. Trace Thompson hit a hanging curveball out of the ballpark, and then later on, as the game went on, he started to use his fastball a little more effectively. Strikeouts, 3 on the curveball, 1 on that 4-seam fastball, as he crossed up B.J. Murray in the 2nd to end the threat. a couple of runners on were threatening after back-to-back base hits by 8 and 9 in the lineup, and then he struck out B.J. Murray with that fastball.
This is Sweeney, a fly ball out back in the second. Wainwright at 47 pitches. Remember, 65 in pool play here. Everybody's first 4 games. That's the limit. That's a line drive with a base hit into center field. JP Morosi, should Cardinal fans be concerned with what they see from Adam Wainwright tonight?
Not necessarily, Rich, and I think that from a Team USA perspective, there is a split screen going on right now, trying to win the game tonight and trying to win the group. And that man, Mark DeRosa, has some huge decisions here. Every out that Wainwright gets is an out that the bullpen does not have to get. And managing the workload, especially with the pitch limits and the rest regulations, is of paramount importance before tomorrow night's game against Team Mexico.
JP, it's a great point about the spot, because the Mexico game is tomorrow night. There's a chopper over the middle. McNeil flips. Turner on to first in time. We'll continue that discussion. Wainwright, a cleanup of the 4th inning, and a 2-1 United States lead in the desert in the World Baseball Classic. Mark DeRosa managing for the very first time Team USA, and a 2-1 lead here. Adam Wainwright.
Looks like he's done. Yeah, I think he's done. He's shaking hands, talking to his teammates on the bench. He's probably been told that's it.
Yeah, here's Betts now. 3rd time through for Betts, Trout, and Goldschmidt. JP was talking about the parallel tracks of managing right now for DeRosa. Win the game, save the bullpen, and because of the schedule, JP, you pointed out Mexico tomorrow night. In the first game, that came down in an interesting twist with Colombia and Mexico. Colombia's got a day off tomorrow, then plays Great Britain, so they could use their closer for 2 innings. They did, and it paid off for them in an extra inning win. And that's kind of one of the nuances, guys, Buck and JP, on this tournament baseball.
It's a great point, Rich, and I do think that was the pivotal moment of the game earlier today, was the fact that Colombia was able to utilize 2 innings of Zuniga, who was dominant in relief, and then they could utilize the off day tomorrow, whereas now Giovanni Gallegos, it's not entirely clear if, from a usage standpoint of what the Cardinals are comfortable with, if Benji Hill can bring him back tomorrow against Team USA. And I think to a larger point about Wainwright, Buck, and why it appears he'll be pulled after this 4th inning, is that when you consider where things stand, he has not yet thrown 50 pitches. And that is that next level to cross. Once you hit 50, then you must take 4 days off. If it's less than 50, you do have a little bit more flexibility to potentially bring Wainwright back later on, even in pool play.
Yeah. Mike Trout at the plate right now, sitting on a 2-0 pitch. And Buck, you had to wrestle with all of this in 2006, what JP was addressing there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Gallegos pitching in that game threw only 9 or 10 pitches, 9 strikes. So he can come back tomorrow against Team USA, but that is a decision. You have to decide, okay, where are we in the lineup? How important is it that I get through this part of the lineup with my closer? And Benji Hill thought, I'll get Gallegos out of the game. It was still tied at that point, and I've got him for Team USA. The other side of it was the fact that Colombia had the off day tomorrow. They won't play until Monday, and the team they're playing Monday is Great Britain, so they have a little more leeway, a little more wiggle room for sure.
And in Gill's defense, a run scores on an error, but there was traffic, and with the runner at second base, and to Colombia's credit, they put pressure on Mexico, and Mexico faltered, and that's a huge win in this pool because those 2 teams are talented enough to advance to Miami, but only 2 teams advance out of this 5-team pool. And you got to think that USA has an overwhelming shot to be one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, you would certainly think they were going to advance out of this pool, but I think they kind of got a wake-up call in the first inning when Trace Thompson hit a home run. Said, wait a minute.
Yes, everybody out of the pool at that point. Oh, very nice. John Moore is like the fastest trigger finger award-winning director. Runner goes, throw down, and safe for the slide. Mike Trout stretching out those hamstrings.
Trout didn't run much last year. He was just 1 for 1, and he's had some injuries, as you mentioned. But boy, there was a time when he was a threat to steal anytime he got on base. He obviously feels pretty good about his health right now. Picks up a big 90 feet with a stolen base. Throw was short of the mark, and Seymour takes it on 1 hop. So Trout's now in scoring position with 1 out.
49 stolen bases in 2012, early in his career. He's similar to a guy in a Team USA uniform, Ken Griffey Jr., who early in his career was a terrific base stealer, base runner.
Well, and one thing where they're so valuable as offensive players, the wear and tear of stealing bases was something that the manager said, hey, man, we need you healthy. And that one hit Goldschmidt. That breaking ball sailed inside and clipped him on the arm.
And so Goldschmidt is bored. By the way, it's really cool to see Griffey here. He's not a guy that has done a lot of this type of stuff where, you know, coaching in an organized, in a national spotlight type way. And it really looked like yesterday when he was working with hitters, talking with hitters, that he had a smile on his face. He was really enjoying it.
Yeah, he sure was. And obviously, we had conversations about his time with us, Team USA, back in 2006. And Drew Spencer's going to make a pitching change after this hit Paul Goldschmidt. So he's out of the game. Nestor's out of the game. We'll have a pitching change here. USA has a 1-run lead, 2-1.
Yep. All right, everybody back in the pool. Back after this. That is pool C.
The World Baseball Classic is about family as much as it is country. And as we talked about earlier, back in 2006, 3 generations of Griffeys were part of Buck Martinez's Team USA. And how about that photo right there? The great Willie Mays and Barry Bonds as well. Trey Griffey, as you know, Rich, played his college football at the University of Arizona, not far at all from where we are here tonight.
And you know what? You know who the unofficial photographer for that Arizona football team was those years? That man. He was, and I don't know if he got it from his former teammate Randy Johnson, who's a very accomplished photographer, but Griffey was at all those games with his camera on the sideline. That was a fun time.
Yeah, it was great to have them on the team. And Ken Griffey Jr., as we mentioned, was the star of the team, playing center field. He's a true baseball guy. Obviously grew up in a baseball family with his dad playing in Cincinnati. They played together in Seattle and actually homered in the same game, back-to-back home runs.
Yes, that was. There was a lot of comedy between the two in that.
Who's got the most power?
That period when they were together in uniform. So Ryan Long, out of Woodinville, Washington. No doubt he grew up following the Mariners and knows all about Ken Griffey Jr. Ended up going to college at Panoma, Pittsburgh. Panoma Pitzer. Say that 3 times fast. In Claremont, California.
Yeah, he played last year in Cinco de Del Mar in the Orioles system. Great opportunity for him here. He made 10 starts, 21 games overall in A-ball last year. A tall task right here. Nolan Arenado is already 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored.
He goes around and the count 2-1.
For 1.
Arenado infield hit in the first. Double brought home a run in the third. And a mammoth pop-up Murray at third makes the catch.
You know, it's a one-run game here in the bottom of the fourth, and Great Britain has walked 5 batters and hit a batter. And Team USA, they have kept Britain in here, not being able to come through with a big inning, a big clutch hit. They scored 2 in the bottom of the third, but it's a 2-1 ball game.
You know, Griffey not only took photos of college football, but women's basketball, because his daughter, Taryn, played basketball at Arizona as well. Schwarber walked and flied out. This has not been the cakewalk that everybody expected. And I would guess many of the players for USA expected. And you can thank Vance Worley for that. Worley was fabulous, just mixing and matching and ducking and cutting the ball, bringing it in and out. At times Wainwright-like. Wainwright ended his night with 4 innings, 5 hits, a run, and 4 strikeouts. 0-2.
It's just missed down and in, and Kyle Schwarber, he has walked and hit a high fly ball to medium deep center field. Missed the ball, running fastball from Worley back in the 3rd inning.
He may have gotten that one. Young is back, and it's gone all the way over Pool C. Schwarber, the big year last year with the 46 homers, and Turner now, who's 0 for 1.
Yeah, we talk about the walks and the hit batter, and they are cashed in by Kyle Schwarber, who led the National League last year with 46 home runs. He didn't miss that one.
No, and remember what Drew Spencer said. We need to win the small margins. And the error, of course, in the 3rd opened the door for 2 runs. A walk and a hit batter, and then a 3-run shot by Arenado, and it's 5-1. Excuse me, Schwarber with a 3-run shot.
We talk about Schwarber just missing one back in the 3rd inning, and he didn't miss this one. That fastball ran down and away, but you can see how he stayed on it. He is so strong, and he keeps that barrel in the zone so long, he's able to get to it. And he provides a souvenir for that Team USA fan out in right field.
428 feet over the pool.
Boy, he really went down and stayed on it, and salutes the bullpen as he rounds the bases.
Turner shoots one into right field, and that's a hit. It's always interesting to see a team in the World Baseball Classic and what they do as a team. What's their signal when they get a hit? You know, is it a hand motion? And with Team USA, it seems to be a salute.
Yeah, and they have been together now for a while, but you can bet they've talked about it. Mark DeRosa has had a couple of different meetings talking about the importance of playing for your country, and a lot of these players have bought in big time.
Tucker swings and misses. And don't think that DeRosa is going to take it easy and put it in cruise control here. He addressed that the other day. He said, look, there's a run rule in this tournament, and we want to get there as fast as we can. And that's along the lines of what JP talked about with trying to save the bullpen for the rest of the pool.
Cross up right there between the pitcher and the catcher. Harry Ford, the catcher, came up as if he expected a fastball. And here's the salute you were talking about. Mookie Betts leading the celebration in the dugout as Kyle Schwarber walked a 3-run homer here in the 4th inning.
Tucker knocked home a run with a hit in the 3rd. The schedule in the World Baseball Classic can be pretty unforgiving. And Great Britain is the 5th seed essentially here, and so their schedule is pretty demanding right out of the chute.
They come back and play the day game tomorrow against Canada. 12 o'clock start local time, and Mexico and USA play tomorrow night, 7 o'clock here in Phoenix. And it's a tough schedule. Now Canada, with the off day today, they'll play 4 straight days. They have condensed this tournament dramatically from the first 4 WBCs, and here's the schedule.
Yeah, it used to be 14 pods and then another round to decide who got into the semifinals. Now it's 4 pods of 5 teams. 2 exit their pods and head to Miami. Of course, if you came out of Miami, you just stay there. And the nuance there that's different, it's one and done out of the pool. Liner, right field, and caught there on the run. Chavez Young on the move. Kyle Schwarber leaves the yard, clears the pool. And the United States stretches the lead. It's 5-1.
A day of surprising outcomes at the World Baseball Classic continues. Venezuela 5, Dominican Republic 1. That was tonight's final in Miami. Venezuela resurgent, their first ever win over the Dominican Republic in World Baseball Classic play, and their first win over a team not based in Europe since 2009, Rich. So one of the teams that we expect a lot from in this tournament. Venezuela, powered by someone who played a lot of baseball here, David Peralta, 3 RBI for Venezuela.
It's you know, for Venezuela, they've always kind of been an underachiever in the World Baseball Classic, but with such baseball tradition and talent. There's a liner from Anthony Seymour into right. And Mookie Betts is there to make the catch. And of course, here in Pool C, you know, somewhat of a surprise, especially with Jose Quintana scratched from the rotation for Colombia, and Julio Urias on the mound for Mexico. Colombia winning in extra innings, setting themselves up at 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know who's going to step up, and you know, you play a series. Play a 7-game series, USA against Great Britain. They'd probably win 6 of those 7 games, but in a 1-game format, you just never know.
Why hasn't Venezuela been more successful? And I'll open that up to JP and to you, Buck.
I just think it has a lot to do with their pitching. They haven't had the type of pitching that consistently will keep you in games. And like I say, it's a tough atmosphere in Dominican, of course. The Dominican Republic has always been loaded. They were the champions in 2013. Japan won the first 2 classics, and then Dominican Republic in 13, Team USA in 17.
B.J. Murray at the plate. And Murray smacks one into center. Trout in pursuit. And he makes the catch for the second out. JP, the Venezuelan team, is this a different Venezuelan team that's capable of making a run?
And Rich, one of the reasons why is Omar Lopez, their manager, I think, has really set a very calm demeanor in that clubhouse. There's been turmoil in recent years within the federation there. I've heard very little of that recently. They just hosted the Caribbean Series very successfully at a new ballpark outside Caracas. And they also have, Buck, a really good contact-oriented lineup. Luis Arraez stands out to me as one of those players. Jose Altuve. They just have a lot of depth and a lot of really good contact. We've seen it again today. Contact-oriented teams win in this tournament.
Salvador Perez, Miguel Cabrera, Gleyber Torres. They've got some pretty good big leaguers there.
Speaking of contact, Trayce Thompson has had positive contact twice. The home run to open up the scoring in the first off of Adam Wainwright, and then doubled off of Wainwright in the third.
Jason Adam, boy, he has really turned his career around. Started out in the Kansas City Royals organization. He was late getting to the big leagues. Didn't get his first season in the big leagues until he was 26 years old. But last year with Tampa Bay, he was as dominant as any reliever in the big leagues.
An ERA of $1.50, and he's one of the many Rays that dots the rosters of a variety of WBC teams. We saw that in our first matchup, the Mexico-Colombia game. I mean, you're going to have to show some ID with that, sir.
Adam has a terrific slider. He's got a very short arm stroke and not an awful lot of timing for the hitter as he kind of raises that hand very short behind the shoulder, and very difficult for hitters to follow that release point.
Yeah, that slider is deadly. 0.98 opposing hitters on that slider. Thompson, and Turner is there to snare it. In Pool C, 5-1, United States. JT Realmuto, single season Major League history, catchers 20 or more homers, 20 or more stolen bases. Pudge Rodriguez back in '99, Realmuto 21 bags, 22 homers last year with the Phillies.
He was caught just once last year at 21 of 22 in his steal attempts.
And I will say this too, if a wrestling match ever broke out in Major League Baseball, this is the guy you want on your side. And I'm not talking about WW that. I'm talking about real wrestling, because his cousins, John Smith, one of them, were Olympic gold medalists. And that sport has always run in that family. Realmuto was a outstanding quarterback coming up in high school in Oklahoma, led his team to a state championship in a fabled last-minute drive for the championship. Shoots down the first baseline. Realmuto is out. And here comes Jeff McNeil. And JP, you've got more on McNeil.
Yes, he is not competing at the national level for the first time, Rich. He actually competed back in 2009 in the U.S. Junior Amateur Golf Championship. And Tim Riley wrote a great story at golf.com about McNeil, in which McNeil talked about watching Jordan Spieth on the range. And he said, quote, "Oh, so that's what it's supposed to look like."
Yeah, I always get a kick out of baseball players and say, when I get done playing baseball, I'm going to go on the senior tour. Yeah, right. It's a different league, just like baseball is different than a lot of the fans think. Oh, I could hit 90 miles an hour, no problem.
That's a strike. Ryan Long into his second inning of relief for Great Britain. McNeil has bounced out and flied out. It reminds me of almost a Larry Boa type bat and approach at the plate with choking up.
Ron Hunt, Larry Boa, a lot of guys use those bats.
It's a throwback. Now, not lately, though, but I mean, back in the day.
Now, that's why I talked to McNeil about it during batting practice yesterday. I said, man, you don't see these bats anymore. He said, it's like a U1. He says, yeah, it was patterned after a U1, which was the model bat by Louisville Slugger.
Look out. Thompson makes the catch. I would assume it's not easy to order one of those.
No, you can order anything now. They'll make anything customized to your liking, and it's a bigger, thicker handle. And you can see the communication is the center fielder. He's got priorities and cuts in front of the youngster, Jaden Loretta, who makes the catch. And they talked it over after the catch.
Trayce Thompson has taken over this team, as he should. He's had a terrific night. Now Betts takes a breaking ball up. Deep fly ball to the track and left in the first, popped out in the second, bounced out in the fourth. And he rolls that one up the middle into center field. That's a base hit.
He salutes his bench with a base hit. He's now 1 for 4 in this game. Mark DeRosa has had some difficult decisions. Actually, they're really not that difficult. They're just kind of challenging because you've got so many great players to choose from. But he was asked about Mookie Betts hitting leadoff as opposed to Trey Turner, who's done that when he plays with the Dodgers. And he said, hey, I just like to have Mookie Betts in front of Mike Trout. I just think that's a great combination. Two of the biggest stars in the game hitting back-to-back top of the order.
Trout walked back in the fourth, stole a base. The pitch misses away. Now, it was in a different incarnation, a different time in the World Baseball Classic. Run differential was the tiebreaker. That is what kind of precipitated that Canada-Mexico brawl. Now it's head-to-head and earned runs and preventing runs. So for DeRosa here, you know, he told us yesterday the foot's going to be on the pedal all night long, all game long.
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, if you happen to lose a game here or there and you end up in a tiebreaker, runs will factor in. There's a formula to break ties. It's involved with how many outs you have made, how many runs you have allowed.
And he was also referencing the large lead early termination rules. 10-run lead after 7, game over. 15-run lead after 5, game over. And I'll be honest, there was talk about that, chatter about that with this game. And hey, if we can jump on them and get to those thresholds and end the game without having to extend the bullpen, that's great. But this has certainly been a very different game, I think, than anybody imagined, with Great Britain jumping out to a 1-0 lead and holding that lead all the way to the bottom of the third. Trout pulls that one foul, and that was as I mentioned, DeRosa was addressing not only tiebreakers, but this as a chance to really save your bullpen. but it's not happening.
It's leading by 15 after 5 in the game, and it's 10 runs after 7. That's not the case. It doesn't look like it's going to be the case in this game. But how many people did we speak to prior to this game starting? Oh, yeah, well, Team USA will mercy rule the Great Britons. That hasn't been the case at all. You never heard it from the coaching staff or the players of Team USA, but a lot of the media types are saying, well, this is going to be a laugher for Team USA. It's been anything but.
Betts is running with a full count and 2 outs, and Trout fouls it back. You and I have seen all kinds of different teams in our history with this tournament, and you've seen great teams, Japan, and underdogs turn into great teams like the Netherlands, Team USA,
We
Dominican.
saw China win a game.
Yes, and that's where I was headed. and China in a similar situation, starting, John McLaren did such great work there trying to cultivate and start baseball in that country, and it feels like that ball is continuing to roll, and that's what this season is all about, and this team is all about for Great Britain. Betts moving again. Trout fouls it back to the screen. Drew Spencer, when he talked to his team, talked about that, said, hey, look, you've earned your way here. Now that you're here, we have a chance to make a legacy and bring along and make some history so that as the years go and the sport grows and Great Britain's baseball program is better and starts to win games and advance and produce major league players, they'll look back at this World Baseball Classic. Swing and a miss. Ryan Long strikes out Mike Trout. And United States leaves a runner. Oh, it's all about the Benjamins. Those are real Hundies right there. I think that's the GM of the U.S. team.
Kyle Freeland joined the Team USA roster in place of Clayton Kershaw. The top of the 6th belongs to him, and Rich, it won't be a surprise if he goes a lot further than that, setting up the possibility of Freeland starting a game later in this tournament.
Justin Wiley is pinch hitting here, and he fouls that pitch off from Freeland. And that's the thing, once you go past that threshold, and the #1 starters in this pool aren't eligible to pitch again unless their team gets out of this round and heads to Miami. So you're managing this game, but you're managing the tournament, as I really like the way JP put it earlier, on parallel tracks.
Yeah, there are a couple of things you're trying to accomplish, and Freeland has made 2 starts in spring training with Colorado. Total of 6 innings, gave him 9 hits in spring so far, so he's going to be stretched out a little bit. That's a great point by JP. The fact if you can get Freeland to throw maybe 2-3 innings here, you save those arms down in that bullpen.
That's a ground ball. That's Arenado, and that's what he does. And there's 2 outs as Harry Ford bounces out.
Arenado is amazing in his ability to have that inner clock. He knows exactly how much time he has with each runner, and watch how he continues to take some strides after he fields it. Just gathering himself, runs into foul territory. See how he turns that ball over and gets a 4-seam grip on it? That's how he's able to throw so accurately on the run from third base. He took the extra time. He rolls the ball around, making sure he's got that 4-seam grip to give him a true throw across the diamond.
Chavez Young, Freeland, a pitch and a line drive into left field. That's a base hit. And Young is aboard with a 2-out single. Can we say that Arenado is the greatest defensive third baseman in the history of the game? Does he supplant Brooks Robinson yet?
Well, I tell you what, I played against Brooks Robinson when he was in prime in Baltimore, and he was tough to beat. But you know what? They're very similar in many ways because they throw on the run a lot. Brooksy could do that too. And you know, Arenado's probably got more foot speed than Brooksy had, but boy, Brooksy's instincts were phenomenal. He could do so many things with the glove. He had great range. He could charge the slow choppers and threw on the run. He, like Arenado, was dramatically accurate with his throws. It seemed as though he would make every throw about a half stride in time, no matter who was running. It could be the fastest guy on the team or the slowest guy on the team. You're always out by half a stride.
I'll take that as a not quite yet, Rich.
Not quite yet.
Ward lifts it into right. That's Mookie Betts territory tonight, and he's there and he makes the catch. And Kyle Freeland works a rapid 6th inning. Kyle Schwarber left the yard earlier. Kyle Schwarber coming to the plate when we get back to the desert in the World Baseball Classic.
In the 4th inning, a couple aboard, and he squares up this pitch and hits it over the pool in deep right center. Schwarber has 199 career home runs. He's hit 3 regular season home runs here at Chase Field, and that was 428 feet off the bat. He just missed one back in the 3rd inning when he got under it and flied out to center field, but he didn't miss that one, and that kind of cushioned the Team USA to a 5-1 lead now. That came in the 4th inning.
Daniel Cooper on the mound. Cooper, a longtime veteran of international play with Great Britain, facing Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Schwarber. Cooper is one of the last remaining players to have been drafted by the Expos. 2004. He didn't sign with the Expos at the time. He chose to attend college, much like Tom Brady did not sign with the Expos and decided to play in college.
Yeah, Tom Brady was a catcher, and many people thought he would turn out to be a pretty good professional baseball player, but I think he chose the right path.
Nobody clamoring to see if Daniel Cooper is going to come back next year. But here he is, and he's had a really nice run in a Great Britain uniform. That's a roller into left. Murray couldn't get it. Goldschmidt with a hit. Daniel Cooper, great story. JP Morosi, this is a guy who's been around a while, that's for sure.
He really has, and again, credit to our own Matt Orso with some great research on Cooper's story. Cooper right now is actually working in California for a startup, and I saw him earlier today. He was actually speaking with a client who was here at the game, and so we were talking, having a nice conversation. He said, excuse me, I have to speak with this person. It's a client for my other work. So Daniel always keeping his awareness on both jobs, but yes, a great point by Matt. We have to believe Daniel Cooper and Tom Brady, the only 2 professional athletes active at any point in time this year, even for Tom Brady's playoff game, who were still drafted by the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And by the way, since he has a client at the game, he can write off his clubhouse dues.
You're always thinking about the edge, aren't you?
That ball to left, pulled down the line, and it's going to get down for a hit. Into the corner it goes. Goldschmidt racing for 3rd. They're going to send him. He had stopped, but he's going to score easily. And Arenado has his 3rd hit.
Jaden Red, the left fielder, played it off the wall and then picked it up and dropped it. And Ronald Goldschmidt had come to almost a complete stop at 3rd base. Dino Evil, the 3rd base coach for the Dodgers, waves him home, and Arenado's had a good game. This is his 2nd double of the game, his 3rd hit. Watch the left fielder. Jaden Red plays it off the wall, plays it all right, but then drops it when he went into his glove to pick it up, and that's when Goldschmidt got the wave. Watch him stop over here toward 3rd, saying, okay, stop right here. Nope, go ahead. He dropped it.
So a single and a double, and here's Schwarber, who was walked, homered, and flied out. Cooper attended USC and played at USC after not signing with the Expos, and was drafted by Seattle. Got to Double-A with them in 2011.
This is his 4th appearance for Great Britain in WBC qualifiers. That's a nice play by the young left fielder. Jaden Red, he had that sinking liner coming toward him, and he was able to stay with it, make the play to the entire shoulder.
They'll bring Turner up.
That gets a good read on this, and the ball was cutting back on him, but he stays with it and makes a nice play. Red's just 20 years old, and he's a member of the Toronto Blue Jays organization. He was added late to this team. A great experience for him. He had a base hit in his first at bat in this game tonight.
Trey Turner out in front. They talk about sometimes when a minor leaguer comes up into the big leagues, making the adjustment as an outfielder or even as an infielder to a ballpark that has more than one level. Has an upper deck, has a middle deck, has 3 or 4 decks. Dodger Stadium's got like 7 different levels. And I would think for a lot of these players for Great Britain, this is a big, big adjustment with a ball in the air. The lighting obviously is better. The perspective is completely different than they are used to. And of course there's a roof.
There's a roof too. First time they've ever had to experience that.
That's a great look.
Yeah, beautiful crowd here tonight, and a lot of these players for Great Britain playing in the biggest crowd and playing for the first time under a roof. A lot of things to deal with. But Ruud made a nice play of that one.
And a swing and a miss there. Turner goes down.
The ball looked like it would cut away from him, and he strikes out. And they're now 1 for 3 with a walk in this game.
Tucker with a runner at second, 2 outs. RBI single back in the 3rd. Daniel Cooper, first inning of work here in the 6th.
Time out, fine.
I don't know where this game is going to end up score-wise, but I think if you're Great Britain, you could take some confidence out of these first 6 innings. They grabbed a 1-0 lead. They were in a position to add on to that. They made a couple mistakes that led. It's not like they've been overwhelmed. The error opened the door for 2 runs. The hit batter was and a walk was a key in that big 4th inning before the Schwarber home run.
Yeah, I think that'll be the message delivered to his team from Drew Spencer tomorrow before they play Canada. Is, listen, we were in that game. The error in the 3rd inning by the shortstop with 1 out. That set up a Nolan Arenado RBI double. And then a walk, a hit batter in the 4th with 1 out. Set up the Kyle Schwarber 3-run home run. So if you eliminate those mistakes, you're right there. And I think he's going to deliver that message at some point, whether it's tonight or tomorrow before the game against Canada.
Tucker, soft fly ball. Young started back, now skips in and makes the catch. USA adds a run onto the 7th, 6-1.
We report to you some breaking news from 1744. Baseball was invented in England. Here it is. This is called The Little Pretty Pocketbook, a story about baseball. The ball once struck off, away flies the boy to the next destined post, and then home with joy. Home indeed for baseball is England, Rich. It was invented there 1744. I credit my friend David Block for doing a lot of great research on that. There was actually a newspaper article from 1749 that had the account of the Prince of Wales and Earl of Middlesex playing baseball in Walton-on-Thames, not far at all from London Stadium, where Major League Baseball returns this summer.
Was the author of that article part of the Baseball Writers Association?
That was founded, Rich, in the great city of Detroit in the early 1900s. So again, I'm telling you, with all due respect to Abner Doubleday and others, the baseball origin story begins in England.
That's awesome, and surprising, I think, to a lot of people. You know, you don't think it came from anywhere but the United States, right?
Nothing surprises me that J.P. Morosi digs up. I mean, he's the hardest working guy in baseball. He's been out here doing interviews of all these teams, doing reports for MLB, and a terrific source, a great member of our team, and we're glad to have him on board, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Kyle Freeland, the Colorado Rockies lefty, strikes out Darnell Sweeney, and here comes Jaden Run. Speaking of beginnings, you got a pinch hitter coming up. So speaking of beginnings for him, this is his start in the World Baseball Classic. Deshaun Knowles, he fouls that one off. Knowles, 22 years old. This is a guy that is a prospect from the Bahamas, 4 minor league seasons with the Angels. In high A last year, he swiped 22 bags, had an on-base percentage right around 350, line drive, gap hitter, Angels system, switch hitter. So a lot of things to like about him.
Yeah, Knowles, of course, another one of these young Bahamian baseball players. Chavez Young in this lineup, of course. And B.J. Murray, the third baseman, also from Bahamas.
Counts 0-2. Fastball misses up. And it counts 1 ball and 2 strikes.
1-2.
Kyle Freeland, the third pitcher to work in this game. Adam Wainwright started and went 4 innings, gave up a run on 5 hits. Jason Adams threw 11 pitches in his clean inning of relief. Now Kyle Freeland, who had a terrific season in 2018 for the Rockies, 17-7 with a very good ERA of 2.85, but since then it's been a little bit of a battle for him. He's trying to get sorted out now.
There's a fly ball down the right field line. Betts isn't going to get there, and that's a fair ball. How about this? Knowles racing around second. Told you the scouting report said speed, and he's in there with a triple. How's that for a little confidence and a little cup of tea?
Yeah, good job by the pinch hitter, Deshaun Knowles. Hit that a long way down the right field line, and it stays fair, goes up against the fence. He stays on that breaking ball very well. Mookie Betts can't run it down, and Knowles never hesitates. Betts plays it off the wall as it kind of dies near the base of that fence in right field in front of the bullpen. And look at the speed. Knowles checks his third base coach, says, come on over here, and he's in there with a head-first slide.
And every time something like this happens for Great Britain, it breeds a little more confidence that, you know what, we belong here. Now Anthony Seymour, the switch hitter, the second baseman. Seymour went to high school in South Florida, really good one, American heritage, but he's from the Bahamas. 6 minor league seasons, and he, like a lot of other minor leaguers, found that with contraction of the minor leagues there just wasn't a job, so he ended up playing in 22 for the Long Island Ducks and the Charleston Dirty Birds. Sharp ground ball. Arenado looked at home, goes to first. Goldschmidt picks it, gets the out, But Great Britain has their second run.
Boy, there was a lot going on in that play, and you're right, Rich. You called it perfectly. Arnado looked at home. He was thinking about trying to cut the runoff at home, but I think the base runner was in his throwing lane. Watch how he picks the ball up, looks at home, and says, nope, I've got nothing there, and then gets help on the other end by the Gold Glover over at first base. It makes a nice grab of the one hopper. Good base running right there on contact as Knowles broke on contact. And there's that good play by Goldschmidt across the diamond.
That's off the foot of B.J. Murray. Boy, how lucky. I don't want to say lucky, but great planning by the St. Louis Cardinals, right? Gold Glove on one corner, Gold Glove on the other corner.
Now, the Cardinals don't make too many mistakes. They do things right. They've been a good club for a long time. But when you have this kind of defense, it makes your pitching staff much better. You don't have to try to miss bats if you're pitching for the Cardinals. You want them to hit it on either side of the diamond.
In the air and out of play.
That thing was up there a long way off the bat of B.J. Murray, another one of these switch hitters.
But again, I mean, this is not a blowout. It's 6-2, and this is a win for Great Britain in their very first World Baseball Classic. They look like the teams that we've seen, the young countries who are just starting to get it, just starting to develop players.
Well, last year, Israel advanced out of the first round, last time in 2017, and moved to the second round in Tokyo. Czech Republic is doing the same. Italy's had a good run, and now Great Britain trying to make their mark.
Freeland strikes out Murray. All right, what's the celebration for Great Britain? How about a little tea? Nice. Into the bottom of the seventh inning stretch for a large crowd. All of them, it seems. There's a smattering of a few Brits here to see Team USA. JT Realmuto, Jeff McNeil, Mookie Betts against Daniel Cooper, and Realmuto punches one foul. He's doubled, walked, and has a base hit. And if you're just joining us and you're saying, 6-2, US is up. This, for Great Britain, is a great score. This is their very first World Baseball Classic. The U.S., of course, stocked with not only all-stars and MVPs, but future Hall of Famers and all of that. And the Brits getting their first taste of a real WBC tournament after qualifying for the first time. And they've had some nice moments.
They had the lead. Trace Thompson had a first inning home run, and that came off Adam Wainwright, but Team USA came back with 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth.
Chopper to third. Murray across and another throwing error. At the same time, you can tell that some of these players in the bright lights, it's not that easy.
Well, and two, they're not used to the speed of major league players, and I think this cost Murray. Look at the time he takes. A couple of shuffles, and then he throws wide of the mark. Once he looked up, he saw how close Realmuto was to first, and he rushed his throw and pulled the first baseman off the bag. I mean, that's the one thing that is so different with big league players. Everybody hustles out of the box, and they've got a lot of good speed, and you can't hesitate. We saw that earlier on a Trey Turner ground ball to the second baseman. He almost beat it out, a routine two-hopper.
And to be honest with you, if that throws on the mark, that's a bang-bang play, and Realmuto may have beaten that out. And that's just knowing your hitter and knowing the speed of Realmuto.
Well, and we talked about the difference with Nolan Arenado playing third base for Team USA. He's got the inner clock, and he knows the speed of all of his runners, and he makes his throws accordingly. How about Arenado playing in high school, and one of his high school teammates was Matt Chapman.
Yep, same high school.
Same high school.
Amazing.
Southern California. You got two of the best fielding third basemen in the major leagues playing on the same high school team.
Good crowd here, close to 40,000, 39,650. That's just about a sellout, and it will be sold out tomorrow night when USA takes on Mexico. And the Mexican fans today were just marvelous. What a great atmosphere for that ball game, even though they lost to Colombia.
Now, after that Mexico-USA game, they won't play again until Tuesday night when they meet this Great Britain team in the night game. Another great game for Mexico will be their final game, the day game on Wednesday the 15th when they meet Canada. It'll be a 12 o'clock game.
We haven't even talked about Team Canada yet. They're not playing today. They get Great Britain tomorrow. Noon start here in Phoenix.
Cal Quantrill will get the start against Great Britain, and obviously Canada puts a lot of importance on winning their first game against Great Britain to get established in this pool.
Those are some sweet kicks from JT Realmuto. He's also got a lot of the cool patriotic catcher's gear going. He's running, he's leaping over the ball, and the throw is in time to get a fleet-footed Jeff McNeil. That's some athleticism from that catcher, Buck Martinez.
Yeah, he was moving on the play, and he's got the perfect guy to play hit and run with. McNeil, reigning batting champion in the National League. He put the bat on the ball, but that went right to the second baseman the first out, and gives the Team USA another runner in scoring position.
We were talking about Nolan Arenado and the comparison to Brooks Robinson. Now Robinson won more Gold Gloves. And you got Mike Schmidt who won 10.
Arenado, I mean, he is the current benchmark, obviously, winner in each of his first 10 seasons. But he's still 6 behind Brooksy. And Brooksy was on a great team in Baltimore with Mark Belanger at short, Davey Johnson at second, and Boog Powell at first base. They were all very good fielders. Of course, they had the great Paul Blair in center field for many of those years.
Into shallow center, Thompson is there and makes the catch. You know, there's another reason to celebrate the fact that Great Britain is starting baseball and is here in this tournament, because the major leagues have gone to London, and they're going again this year, right, JP?
Cubs Cardinals in June, and how about this? Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt will be there, as is Lars Nootbaar, who has become a global star in his own right, playing for Team Japan, and is really Nolan Arenado has really taken Lars Nootbaar under his wing as well. The work ethic that Nolan has, Lars has adopted as well. So it's just a tremendous story of global impact. And I love something as well that Drew Spencer said, the manager of Great Britain, that in international baseball, you win in the decades. You win over the long sweep of time, and you can really tell with Great Britain, 4,000 amateur baseball players right now in the country. That number is going to dramatically increase in the years to come.
That's a great point, and certainly Drew Spencer's here for the long game. I mean, he's here to see this through for decades, as JP put it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is it's growing all over Europe. Of course, the Czech Republic has a team in the World Baseball Classic this year. Italy's made their move into the World Baseball Classic. Spain was in the qualifying round in Regensburg. There's just so many countries getting involved. Of course, the Netherlands has a big presence in international baseball.
Mike Trout has had a rough night. Struck out twice. has walked and stolen a base, scored a run. Six runs on 9 hits for Team USA. 7 hits, 2 runs for Great Britain. That liner is foul. You mentioned the other European teams, and that's one thing that Drew Spencer talked about to us when he said, look, I root for the other European teams. We were so excited for the Czech Republic and for Italy because that shows that it works. There's a template for growing this game in those countries, and we're following that.
Yeah, and team Great Britain has traveled to Czech Republic many times to play over there, and he said they do it right. They're doing a great job of teaching the youngsters how to take care of the baseball fields and groom the fields. And they say if you want to learn how to play, you got to take care of your fields and the equipment and everything else. And they're turning things around pretty dramatically at the Czech Republic. Of course, a very athletic country. A lot of great hockey players come out of there, and they have really embraced baseball.
2-2 to Mike Trout. Realmuto at second. Do you think Daniel Cooper's client, who is here tonight, is impressed?
Yes.
I mean, it's like that's a pretty good way to close the deal, isn't it? Hey, here's some tickets, and I'm going to be pitching against Mike Trout. And by the way, I struck out Trey Turner.
Yeah, so you know I'm good at one job, and I promise you I'll be just as good at your count. So sign up.
He kind of ties Trout up, and his pop-up is out of play.
You know what we have seen with Team USA, and they have 6 runs on 9 hits, but they are all a product of this era of baseball where they've got video, they've got scouting reports, they've got tendencies of pitchers, they know everybody they're facing, and they take a lot of information. This is a different story.
Yeah, it's hard to find Great Britain at bats on BBC stock footage, right?
Yeah, you can't go to MLB.com and look up Great Britain and watch their previous games.
Of course, tomorrow night, Patrick Sandoval, the really talented young lefty of the Angels, will be facing Mike Trout. That's always a fun part of this World Baseball Classic, when Major League teammates end up on opposite sides.
Yeah, Team Mexico, as we highlighted in our opening game 1, they've got a terrific rotation. And Sandoval last year 6-9 with a very good ERA at 2.91 pitching for the Angels. He actually had a shutout last season.
And Trout is going to send this one out to Trace Thompson, and a frustrating night for the United States captain. 0 for 4 with a couple of punch outs. And it's still 6-2.
Jones delivers, and the U.S. walks it off to open pool play in Miami.
2017, of course, the defending champs, the United States, opening pool play, not in Miami, but in Arizona against Great Britain. Trace Thompson, the high fly ball that is out of play. A lot of bright moments for Great Britain, and a couple of those have come from this guy, Trace Thompson.
Got it started with a home run in the first inning. That was off Adam Wainwright. He hit a curveball into the seats in left field. He also had a double in the third inning, but was stranded. He had a leadoff double, and the team Great Britain couldn't take advantage of that.
That's a high and deep fly ball. Trout is tracking it to the deepest, darkest part of Chase Field in that little corner. Now, and that ball right there is a good example. That ball almost didn't get to Trout because there's a porch that juts out for the center field wall. And I've seen outfielders camp under a ball at the wall in that spot, and it never gets to them because it leaves the yard and lands on that porch.
Yeah, that porch with that yellow line on top of it. It goes over that. Of course, it's a home run, but Trout got there. Mookie Betts came over from right field just in case the ball was going to clear him off that porch. It's a long way out there, and Trayce Thompson, he's had quite a night, putting good swings on every time he's come up.
Justin Wiley. Wiley with a pop-up. Kyle Freeland keeps getting out. And that's a quick out there, and there's 2 down here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, you can bet Mark DeRosa, the manager for Team USA, would love to see Freeland finish this thing up. Andy Pettitte, the pitching coach. DeRosa's been very complimentary for Andy Pettitte, the pitching coach, and the bullpen coach, another former big league pitcher and a pitching coach is in his own right. Dave Righetti is down in that bullpen.
Boy, Righetti was a great pitching coach with Bruce Bochy in those World Championship seasons in San Francisco. There he is, Rags.
Out there, a no-hitter for the Yankees on the 4th of July.
There you go. Harry Ford is up.
Boy, what a coaching staff they put together at Team USA. Lots of experience, and Mark DeRosa is quick to tell you, I've leaned on all of my coaches. And why wouldn't you?
We haven't talked about his bench coach, Jerry Manuel's terrific baseball guy. That is strike 3 called. Harry Ford caught looking. Freeland was halfway to the dugout before the right arm of Carlos Torres came up. Bottom of the 8th. Opener for Team USA. Well, the season that this guy put together last year in St. Louis, historic. 35 or more homers, 115 or more runs driven in, 180 OPS plus or better. Goldschmidt did it. Albert did it 3 times. Mark McGwire in 98, Stan Musial in 48, Rogers Hornsby twice. And that is in Cardinal franchise history.
Some great players on that board right there. And Paul Goldschmidt began his career right here in Arizona with the Diamondbacks. Gold Glove Award winner 3 different times, and now he's got an MVP trophy on his resume as well.
Yeah, he's look, no one's hit more home runs here than Goldschmidt, and I think for Diamondback fans when they see Goldschmidt, it's probably the same feeling for Rocky fans when they see Arenado.
Yeah, he should be playing for us. At that time, they moved him, and boy, he has found a home. And you know, St. Louis is one of the great baseball franchises for great players and fan base. Terrific fans there in St. Louis. And both Arenado and Goldschmidt have been embraced by the Cards fans.
Michael Peterson, the new pitcher. See his career minor league stats. The story of this game is one of expectations and accomplishment. The expectations were that Team USA would steamroll Great Britain, probably get to 10 or 15 runs and run rule them, and get to the clubhouse, save some of that bullpen, set their sights on Mexico. The accomplishment is that that hasn't happened, and Great Britain has to be pretty proud of that. They had the lead for a while. Trayce Thompson's home run provided it. There were some things they'd love to clean up, but for a young baseball country, so to speak, Drew Spencer has to be pretty proud the way his guys have competed.
I agree with you 100%, but I also think that Drew Spencer's going to say, you know, I told you guys we could play with this team if you eliminate the mistakes, and the mistakes are the difference in this ball game.
That's a great point.
And I don't think Drew Spencer's going to be overjoyed about losing this game. He's going to tell his players, you know what, we just have to clean up our game. We made some mistakes and it proved to be costly.
Murray and Goldschmidt is out. I think, you know, the arms that we've seen from Great Britain haven't been overpowering, but there have been some guys that have come out, pitched well, and been able to get outs. And that, to me, has to build confidence to the rest of the pitching staff. It's like, hey, if my teammate can get Mike Trout out, Trout's 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts, then I can do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it does give them a lot of confidence, and they have played with these guys and certainly have seen them perform, and yeah, they've made good pitches. And once again, I just think that's baseball. No matter where you play, you make good pitches, you can get good hitters out. Mix up the speeds, change the location, in and out, up and down, back and forth with your velocity.
Arenado, and remember J.P. Morosi's report early in the evening about Arenado's first experience in the World Baseball Classic didn't go so well. And of course, the Classic in 2021 was pushed all the way till this year because of the pandemic. And for Arenado, that was a long wait. He wanted to get back out and get back in the uniform. And he swings and misses there and strikes out. And the arm of Michael Peterson, impressive.
100-mile-an-hour fastball right at the top of the zone, and Arenado can't catch up. He threw a 79-mile-an-hour changeup in this at-bat and elevates that fastball, and Arenado's a day late. That's a pretty good heater right there. I think you make a great point about these players all of a sudden thinking, wow, if I throw my pitches in the zone, I've got good enough stuff to get big league hitters out.
And it's a revelation for a lot of these players who've never faced big league players. Especially in this setting and at this intensity. Yeah, Great Britain's been here and they've played in some spring training games against some major league clubs. That's a whole different animal.
In this game, they've seen batting champs, home run champs, MVPs, Gold Glove winners, and Silver Sluggers. And they've basically represented themselves very well.
And all of those guys are trying to tear your throat out, right? This is a World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, they're not trying to take it easy on you, that's for sure.
They're not just working on stuff. You know, I'm working on hitting the ball away, or I'm working on my slider. As Mark DeRosa said, it's on. Schwarber, 3-run homer in the 4th. Swing and a miss, and that's a really nice off-speed pitch.
18 miles an hour slower than that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That's what I'm talking about. Disruptive timing of the hitters. And when you throw 100 and can get a changeup over, that's a tough combination for any hitter.
That's in at 100. And Schwarber takes his base. Trey Turner comes up. Yeah, Team Canada tomorrow is I hope you'll join us for that. They'll take on Great Britain. Noon start. That's fastball right under the hands. Did it clip him? Nope. It was ball 4. The Team Canada is a really nice combination of guys like Freddie Freeman, Tyler O'Neill, and young Canadian prospects.
Edouard Julien, Abraham Toro, Otto Lopez out of the Blue Jays system, and Cal Quantrill.
I can't wait to see Bo Naylor.
Yeah, behind the plate. Bo Naylor's got a chance to catch for the Guardians this year.
Younger brother of Josh.
Team Canada managed by Ernie Witt, and Ernie is the senior manager in this entire tournament. He's managed all 5.
He's seen it all, hasn't he?
WBCs for Team Canada.
Roller out there, and that's all they needed. After the Schwarber walk, Turner bounces into an out. 6-2 United States to the ninth. Three outs away from a win for Team USA. And for Mark DeRosa, it would be win number 1. Of course, a quarterback and a terrific baseball player at Penn. Long major league career, 16 seasons. Played on that 2009 WBC team. Managing here and managing to get to 1-0 and set up a huge game tomorrow night right here against Mexico.
Mark DeRosa got his first big league hit in this ballpark as a pinch hitter. He was batting for Ozzie Guillen as a member of the Braves. And DeRosa got a base hit in the 9th inning. Game was 10-1. Atlanta playing the Diamondbacks. That was back in 1998, his first year. Got called up in September, got his first big league knock right in this ballpark.
That ballpark had not been around a long time at 1998.
Yeah, Bank One Park then.
Chavez Young, the hitter. David Bednar, the pitcher. And down goes Young. And Great Britain is down to their last 2 outs. It's really going to be interesting to see how Great Britain plays coming out of this game. Does this give them confidence that they can play at a high level against talent like this?
I think it gives the players confidence, and I think it's fuel for the manager, Drew Spencer, to remind his players, hey, we've got to be sharp on defense. We can't allow other teams extra outs, and that to me is the difference in this game, and that's when things turned around in Team USA's favor. An error, a couple of walks, hit batter, and everything kind of caught up to Great Britain at that point.
The Washington Wild Things, the independent team that Nick Ward played for. Counts 0-2. Harry Ford.
Cooper talking on the bench.
You know, his name in many of the media guides and publications is listed as Harrison Ford. But he goes by Harry, and at the outset of the show, I kept telling myself, don't say Harrison. And I started to say Harrison, and I stopped, and I ended up saying Henry. Buck kicked me in the shins quickly.
Henry was a very important Ford.
Yes. Yes, he was. A significant Ford. One and two. To Nick Ward, who's 0 for 3. 7 hits. This was an Adam Wainwright start, and he went 4. Did not look overly sharp. Great Britain had that home run by Thompson and was set up for another. That's going to be a base hit, as Ward dribbled that one in a shallow right center. That's a really hard, that's a much tougher play for a second baseman than you realize if you're that far on the outfield grass.
Yeah, you got to go way back to your right, try to backhand it, and it kicks off the heel of his glove, and McNeil couldn't field it cleanly. It's a base hit for Nick Ward, his first of the night.
Now Sweeney, the switch hitter. Sweeney did get to the big leagues. He had 34 games with the Phillies in 2015. He had a couple games with Toronto in 2018. I don't know if it was even long enough to introduce himself to you, Buck, and say, Mr. Martinez, I'm Darnell Sweeney.
Yeah, he got a cup of coffee there for a little while, and he made his debut back in 2015 against the Marlins.
He's a South Florida native. His dad is a native of the Virgin Islands, so that gave him the ability to play for Great Britain. And although he didn't play a lot in the big leagues, he did have a great moment with the Phillies in that 34-game stretch because his first major league hit was a home run in Miami. That had to be pretty cool. And a swing and a miss. Bednar has a couple outs. And Deshaun Knowles is coming up. He had a really nice moment when he tripled in the 7th.
And came on as a pinch hitter and hit one down into the right field corner and flew around the bases. He would eventually score the second run for Team Great Britain.
Knowles fouls it back to the screen. I think the USA chants, while they've been present here tonight, will be a lot more emotional tomorrow night because they're going to have competition with all the fans from Mexico, the Team Mexico contingent, shoehorned in there with them.
Yeah, they're going to have a shout down tomorrow, Mexico fans and USA fans in this ballpark. It's going to be a terrific atmosphere. It'll be the night game tomorrow night. And Team Mexico, they're almost up against it. They lost to Colombia earlier this afternoon, and they can ill afford to fall down 0-2.
Yeah, they're not going to be in a good mood.
No. And Great Britain's got to turn things around in a hurry. They play tomorrow with 12.
$40,000 on their feet. They came to see the defending champs. Great Britain has given him a game. Bednar to the plate. And he got him. 96, a fastball. And for Mark DeRosa, that is win number 1. Handshakes. Go get some sleep. Get ready for Mexico tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it's an important win for Team USA. They get a win in their first game. They'll play tomorrow night against Team Mexico. Bednar strikes out 3 in the inning, gives up an infield hit and nothing more. Adam Wainwright started the game. He went 4 strong innings, a run on just 5 hits. And the United States with Colombia, they're both 1-0 to start this tournament. Canada will play Great Britain tomorrow. First game for Canada. And I'll be here at 12 tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and the nightcap, of course, again, United States and Mexico. Colombia, you have the day off. And Great Britain, well done in your first World Baseball Classic game. You hung in there. You had some moments, made a few mistakes. It cost you. Certainly a learning opportunity and a chance to draw some confidence.
Absolutely. They'll be ready to have a quick turnaround and face Canada tomorrow.
Trace Thompson opened the scoring for Great Britain. The Dodger knocked one out to left field. Tomorrow, Great Britain and Canada. 3 Eastern is the start. And of course, that second game, USA and Mexico tomorrow night. For our entire MLB Network World Baseball Classic production crew, for JP Morosi, Buck Martinez, I'm Rich Waltz. See you tomorrow from Phoenix.